Amazing. So I'm here to talk to you about how to create your own opportunities, and this will ultimately help you stand out in the marketing world. I have definitely done this myself, being creating opportunities, which this is all about. So as you said, a little bit about me. I am from Liverpool, if you can't already tell. I studied psychology at university in Birmingham, and I now own and run Girls in Marketing. So we're an online platform for women in the marketing industry. Although we're not just for women, we're for everyone. Obviously, Girls in Marketing, it's kind of in the name, but we do not discriminate against anyone. Everyone uses what we do, and we're very happy about that. The name just kind of came about all to do with kind of women empowerment and just kind of getting people to feel confident. Women especially are those who are kind of not necessarily always within the higher roles in marketing. So females are very much dominate the marketing industry, but they don't dominate higher up roles. So there's always kind of this ceiling for almost kind of like not being able to progress in your career, which I seen as a big issue. And when I worked with clients from literally across the world, when I started freelancing, I seen a huge issue with clients thinking I wasn't good enough because I was a woman, and also kind of saying because of my age as well. So I've kind of set up Girls in Marketing for that reason. I live for oat milk lattes, and I love traveling as well. And also, I didn't put this on here, but I love Frenchies, and I'm getting one officially with my partner on Saturday. We're picking her up on Saturday, so I'm super excited to get a Frenchie because I love dogs. Anyway, so yeah, Girls in Marketing was set up in August of September last year. We're based in the UK, but we are tailored to marketers across the world, and we aim to bring about a sense of community by providing support and advice for marketers within the industry and those who want to get into the industry as well. So we have lots of different things that you can make use of. We have a website, a podcast, a jobs board. We have multiple Facebook groups, a LinkedIn group, and lots of other social medias as well. And we host regular events and workshops, and also offer courses and guides as well to help you get started in marketing. We are essentially a new way to learn and grow in your marketing career, and we are tailored to everyone and everyone who loves marketing, which I'm sure you guys do because you're here today. So in terms of my journey so far, I started a YouTube channel in 2011, which, not gonna lie, kind of regretted, but it did teach me a lot about myself and also about filming, photography, and editing. So I was very much into a lot of creative stuff from a very young age. Starting a YouTube channel possibly wasn't the best idea that I had, but it gave me a lot of confidence going forward and kind of being creative and making kind of things come to life. So having ideas and making them come to life, that was great. After the YouTube channel didn't really start well, I decided to start up a blog in 2014 because I've always been more of a writer than an entertainer. And I think with YouTube, it didn't really work out because I had to sit in front of a camera and chat about absolute shit. Like I wasn't chatting what I wanted to talk about. So definitely starting a blog, I was a lot more literate. I could talk about the things I wanted to and also edit them as well. I think YouTube just didn't really work out because it was just kind of the thing that everyone was doing back then. And then, yeah, so I wrote on my blog for a while, and I also wrote for other online magazines up until I went to university. So on the right, you can see my first blog, and it's genuinely awful. Like, I wouldn't make this anymore. I don't know if anyone has the same thoughts, but my partner is a web developer, and he like literally gags at the thought of this blog. Like, he thinks it's disgusting. But I love doing it, and I love writing. And obviously you can see here one of the posts was about feminism. I always wrote about really things that really resonated with me. So really good like opinions and something that I was really, really passionate about. And I have been passionate about feminism and education and stuff from a really young age. And that really did show through my blog as well. I absolutely loved university, but during my first year, I started looking more into marketing. So obviously I did psychology. I love doing psychology and I still love it now. However, it wasn't really something that I could see myself going into after university. the lack of job prospects was a big one, but also the fact that I just couldn't see myself going any further. The only thing that I thought I could do was possibly teaching, but even that I wasn't really a big fan of because I don't like kids. So I was just kind of in a bit of a sticky situation, and I'm pretty sure some of you will be going through this right now, thinking about what you want to do after university, and it is really, really difficult. And I had the realization within first year of having a look into marketing. Now, I then decided to go on and complete so many different free online courses. So I have put a list on the Girls in Marketing website of loads of these free courses. We're always adding to them because people are always suggesting new ones, and also I'm still doing more as well. As a marketer, you are always constantly evolving, constantly learning. This is something you'll either know or you'll come to learn, that you will never know everything you should about marketing, and it is very much an ever-changing industry, which makes it super fun, kind of tiring, kind of stressful, but you shouldn't get yourself stressed about it, because if you love it and you're passionate about it, then you will definitely go far within the industry. So I started to do so many different courses and I absolutely loved it. I then started freelancing through a website called Upwork, which is a freelance website. And I did stuff as content and SEO. So didn't really know much about SEO at the time. I knew a lot more about content because I've been writing my blog and I've been doing a lot of other stuff in terms of like online magazines and stuff like that. So I had a really basic understanding of content and SEO. So I just started doing some freelance work. It was really cheap. I wouldn't do it now. And when at the beginning, I was practically earning like £2 to £3 per article, which I mean, it's better than unpaid work, I'll admit, but it's also not the best. However, I learned so much through freelancing when I started and throughout the few years that I was doing it at university and then after university as well, about working with clients, talking to clients, understanding needs, creating strategies, literally everything. And I actually don't blame those people for not paying me very much, because when I look back at the stuff I produced when I first started, it wasn't awful, but it wasn't great. Like, I wouldn't produce it now. So I think I kind of didn't necessarily deserve to be paid a huge amount because of the work that I was producing. But needless to say, I'm a lot better now. So then I moved off of Upwork because the money is very limiting. People do have a kind of overarching kind of enemy with Upwork and freelance sites. If you are interested in freelancing, it's a great way to get started, but clients who are on there often have a really, really small budget. So if you are a full-time freelancer, you'll probably want to stay off those sites, but they're great to get started. And so when I'd kind of built up a more of a portfolio of work, I moved off that and I just started offering freelance services by other means. So we actually have a course on Girls in Marketing, which is talks about how to kind of get into freelance work. We've had amazing feedback from it. I've had people who've literally gone from, you know, kind of leaving university and not knowing what they want to do to completing the course. And I spoke to a girl the other day and she was on like a 50th client, which is amazing. So that course at the moment is $29.99, but I'm happy to kind of give any of your members a discount if that's something that you're interested in. I understand, obviously, money's tough and all that, but it is a really great course to get started. I wish I could kind of sit here and tell you everything about it, but the course literally took me months to write, so I don't think I can go through that amount of content in, you know, such a short amount of time. But that is kind of what happened to me and how I decided to kind of go with that. So then after I'd freelanced in university, I bagged a job just before I graduated in a marketing department for an investment company in Liverpool. So obviously I'd been in Birmingham and I decided to kind of move. I moved back to Liverpool. I didn't want to stay in Birmingham. I wasn't the biggest fan of living there. And also I wanted to move back home anyway. I loved the university that I went to, but it just wasn't something that I could see myself doing. Plus, my partner at the time was living in Liverpool as well, so I wanted to kind of move back, which was great. So after I worked full-time and I was also freelancing at the same time as working full-time, I decided after a while to leave my job in June of 2020 this year, and now I run Girls in Marketing full time and also have some freelance clients that I do SEO for. So I'm a lot better at SEO now, which has been a long time coming, definitely, and it's very hard to learn, but it's great when you kind of start seeing results. So I mainly decided to leave my job because I wasn't really happy within the kind of company and within the position. I felt really limited to how I was progressing within my career. And also, I had a lot of freelance clients who I'd worked with previously that wanted to work with me again. And I just couldn't resist it, really. So there you go. So the truth is, I've been creating my own opportunities my whole life without even realizing it. And it's possible that you are in the same position as well. Now, if you're not, then that's fine, which is what this kind of whole talk is about, why and how you can be creating your own opportunity. So why should you create your own opportunity? Well, in all honesty, it's a lot easier than looking for work experience and internships. And also, you're doing something that you love at the same time. I know how difficult it can be to look for work experience, and you are expected to work, sometimes unpaid for like a lot of time. And it's not ideal because although it's good for employers to see that you've got the work experience, it's not ideal when you're studying to be doing that at the same time. But creating opportunities looks impressive to employers because it shows that you're proactive and you're enthusiastic about the role. When I was going for interviews, just before I graduated, everyone was saying to me, it's amazing how, you've been doing all this stuff and you've got all this big portfolio and you haven't even finished university yet, which was great. And I just think, when you kind of look at the nitty gritty of things, it is great to have a degree and it's great to do everything that you do. But being in university is a perfect time to build up experience, but not necessarily in a traditional way of the internships because they don't always work for everyone. Now, when you create your own opportunity as well, you're improving the skills. Now, I literally cringe when I look back at my old blogs from 2015, 2016, because I've come a long way since then. Not only have I improved grammatically, not only have I improved my actual knowledge, but I've become a lot more confident. And when I was attending interviews, when I first started, when I was kind of first graduated, I felt a lot more confident because I thought, I've got a portfolio of work, I know what I'm doing, and kind of going forward, I was like, I'm quite good at what I do. And I think one of the biggest things when I started working full time and I got the position working in-house in a marketing team, they were really impressed with the knowledge that I had because not only did I know how things worked, but I could do things within a good time limit because I'd learned to keep to deadlines for clients as well. Now, creating your own opportunity is a great way as well to build your personal brand, which is another key aspect for so many employers, especially larger companies. If you have a really good personal brand, this is particularly online right now because of obviously COVID, but in general as well, especially the marketing industry. If you have a really good personal brand, people are much more likely to want to employ you. Now, I'm not saying you've got to go out and be like an influencer on LinkedIn. That's not the thing. You can if you want, don't get me wrong, but employers just want to see that you enjoy what you do and you're passionate about what you do as well. It's not always easy to build a personal brand, but you've got to start somewhere. And it's definitely great to kind of build that, even if you're not doing anything else. I think the reality of things is that opportunity won't just appear. You've got to work for them and you've got to put the effort in. And, when you kind of come to graduation and you come to thinking about jobs, you need to start thinking about how you can be proactive, not just in university, but in your career as well, because you will never, ever stop learning. So how can you create your own opportunity? Well, there's so many different ways, and I'm pretty sure you'll probably know a few, but I thought I'd add these in because these are some that you might not necessarily think about, but they're great ways to keep your own opportunities going, even if you're not necessarily freelancing or starting a blog. So I would honestly say get involved in anything you can, without burning yourself out. I totally understand that is, a big thing. Get involved with as much as you can. Put yourself out there. Always ask people, if you want to do things, go out and do them. The only thing that can happen is people can say no, which obviously isn't the best answer. But when it comes back to it, you won't have lost anything. Now, another thing is you can volunteer for local charities and organizations to help them out, especially when it comes to social media, because at the moment, a lot of local charities and organizations are looking for people to help with the social media. So I know the Trussell Trust, which are a food bank, are looking particularly across the UK for people to help out with their social media right now. And even if it is just kind of applying to them, and they are obviously a really great charity, putting yourself out there, donating a few of your hours every week to their charity, that's amazing. fcancer.org as well is another great website to go to. They display kind of digital opportunities, so web development and marketing and stuff for cancer charities. So again, they're another great company to volunteer for. I think you always want to kind of put your time, if something's unpaid, you want to put your time into something that's valuable. So charities and kind of non-profit organizations are really great for that. So they're just kind of two websites, two companies that look for a lot of kind of social media work and marketing. And because it is unpaid, they don't expect you to have a lot of experience, which is great because you can obviously start and then kind of almost kind of wing your way through it, really. I mean, I don't think they'd have an issue with that. Obviously, you have to have some knowledge of marketing, but it's a great way to kind of get involved with things. I'd also say join societies. So obviously, all of you are involved in at least one if you're here, and ask if you can do their marketing. I understand this is obviously the Marketing Society, so I'm pretty sure you have people for marketing, but there are lots of societies at university that don't necessarily have like a marketing team or anyone to do their marketing. So even if you join or you're already in a society, ask to do people's marketing or their social media, especially if they don't already have one, because they'll definitely be up for it. Having an online presence is so important right now. And I think, societies understand this and they want to get involved with it. You can set up a blog or a website where you can create your own content. So this can be about anything you're passionate about. You can maybe even set up an Instagram account alongside it. I know a lot of bloggers do have, Instagram accounts alongside their blog. It's not for everyone, but if you are a good writer and you want to improve your skills in terms of writing, then it's a great place to start. So WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, they're all free websites that you can use to set up a blog if that's something that you're interested in. I would also say to make sure you set it up about something you're passionate about, because, if you are producing content that you feel resonates with what you love, then you're not going to feel like it's much effort to produce that content, especially if you are looking at kind of going down a certain route and you want to go into fashion marketing, for example, start a fashion blog. Like, it's just kind of whatever you feel will fit your future career. Try and kind of mold your blog in that way. So I know a lot of people are interested, especially at the moment, in sustainable marketing. So working for brands and businesses that are in the sustainability industry that are really sustainable, which is great. So start a blog on sustainability. If you feel that you are passionate about a certain thing and you want to get into that kind of industry in marketing, setting up a blog is a great way to start. And it, a lot of the time it's free as well. If you did just want to self-host a blog, which I did for kind of the latter half of my blog, when it looked a lot better, it's not that expensive. I understand as a student, you don't have a lot of money, so you might not want to fork out for it. But I think the domain's normally about £10 to £15, and then the self-hosting is about £5 a month. And to make sure it looks good, it's worth it. But other than that, you can just set up a free one as well. Now, another thing I'd suggest is to build up your network on LinkedIn. So start by working on your personal branding and eventually more employers will notice you and they'll start kind of coming to you for the right reasons. So posting on LinkedIn and creating articles, you can do literally everything. So don't necessarily have to start up a blog. You can just start posting on LinkedIn. You can post longer posts, so the article style kind of blogs, or shorter ones as well, and just kind of connect to people that you are interested in. If they're in a certain industry that you love, or if they're in a certain kind of industry that you like in terms of marketing related. So if they're like working influencer marketing, or if they work in SEO, then connect with them. It's a great way to build your network. And also when it comes to graduation, or when it comes to looking for jobs, you'll then have a network that you can put out to, whether you can message them or just have a post as well. I know that when I kind of first started doing freelance stuff away from Upwork, I messaged a load of people who are like agency owners, especially in Birmingham and Liverpool, and just asked them, I'm like, hey, I was just wondering if you are looking for anyone to help you out with some freelance work. And you know, a lot of them came back and said yes, and I still work with some of those people now from years ago. So it's definitely about putting yourself out there on LinkedIn. If you've got a solid base for your personal branding, then people are going to want to work with you as well. So another way you can do is to write for small or larger online publications and magazines. So smaller online magazines, it's a lot easier to write for these. So these are people who are probably just people who set up like their own magazines and stuff like that, which I mean is great, but it's not necessarily something that's going to get you kind of put out there. But if you do, it's a lot easier to write for these smaller magazines. However, you can do that, or you can pitch articles to larger magazines. So think about something that's newsworthy, brainstorm a really good idea, and you can reach out to publications and larger magazines, because so many take on articles from like guest writers. So I've included a few on here. So savethestudent.org, especially because you're all students, they'd be really up for hearing about your experiences at university. Maybe, you know, just certain things, literally anything, as long as it's not already on their website, they will probably want it on their website. So they'll be up for hearing about anything. And then entrepreneur.com as well. The Tab is another good student one, and studentlife.org.uk is another great one. There is so many out there. You can literally just type in you know, magazines for pitching, and it will come up. If you put students, fashion magazines for pitching, student magazines for pitching, loads will come up. It's it's not necessarily easy to do it, but it's so easy to start the outreach process. And in that itself, you're almost kind of getting PR experience, because you will be chatting to people and understanding the way that works. And essentially, if you get a really good placement on one of these websites, then that's something you can put on your portfolio. If you can get something where you're a regular contributor, so Entrepreneur, they have regular contributors, and if you can get on there and you can, you know, produce an article for them every month or every week, then that's great. Like, it's really building up your portfolio in every way possible. So also, if you don't want to do the more kind of practical side of things, you can start doing some online courses. So like I said, we have the list on Girls in Marketing, where it has lots of free online courses. So especially the Google Digital Fundamentals course. I don't know if you'll have heard of this one, but it's a 40-hour course that kind of finishes with a certification from Google. And it's really great. Lots of people are doing it at the moment. It gives you an all-round basic knowledge of digital marketing, which is really good, especially if you're looking at the kind of digital marketing world. And then another kind of thing that you could do is email local digital marketing agencies to ask if they have any room for someone to help them and get experience. So this is what I done, but this was for freelancing, but you can do this in kind of any capacity at all. So all you need to Google is digital marketing agencies, Bournemouth, for example, and then reach out to those people. They'll have a contact page. Sometimes they'll even have a jobs page. This is something that you can do looking for jobs as well, because a lot of the time digital marketing agencies do not kind of put out the jobs on jobs boards. So typical like Indeed and Reed, where you would normally go for a job, the agencies won't really put their information out there on them. Sometimes they do, but a lot of the times they just kind of leave it. But if you type this in, a load will come up. I, did it with Birmingham and with Liverpool when I was looking for freelance work, and I just had like a template email that I just said, hi, I'm a student in university, I'm currently doing freelance work, I'm just looking to see if you need any help with that. And I mean, you can do whatever you want as long as you've got a good template in place. You can really kind of reach out to anyone you want, and guaranteed if you reach out to, I would say, 10 to 20 agencies in your local area, someone will get back to you and say, yeah, like, you can do some experience, especially at the moment, because agencies are doing really well right now, which sounds a bit strange because of the current situation, but agencies, for some really strange reason, are just doing really well. So they probably would need someone to come in to get experience and to kind of do freelance work, whatever suits you. And then also another thing is, if you work in a pub, a restaurant, or a shop, so especially the independent type ones, obviously this current kind of COVID situation, this was written before the 4-week lockdown thing came into place, but if you do work at a small pub or a restaurant or shop, ask to run their social media. I've said this to so many people because it's not something that you initially think about, but it really does work. So many people in our community and our network have worked in like a small pub or a restaurant, and they've just gone to their boss and said, I'd love to run the social media, I'm a marketing student, or I'm interested in marketing. And they turn around and said, yeah, go on, you can do it. Like, and obviously you would be doing it for free and it would be unpaid. Alternatively, they might agree to pay you, because I know a lot of people, especially one of the contributors that helps us with Girls in Marketing, she was working as a receptionist in a hotel, an independent hotel, and now she works as the marketing and PR manager, because over the last few years she's just gone from kind of a receptionist to doing the social media, to then doing like the PR stuff, to now like leading a team of people, which is absolutely crazy. And you might not always think it, and being in a kind of more retail customer service focused job, you might think there's no opportunities for me to be in marketing, but there actually is. So then when you've got all these opportunities and experiences, how do you then showcase this to employers? It is difficult, I'll admit, and I think especially at the moment, because everyone's trying something new, it's difficult to really kind of put these things down into your CV. And how do you then show employers, whether you're going for a job or whether it's part-time or full-time, how do you actually show them that you know what you're talking about? Well, you want to combine a few of these opportunities that I've talked about previously and do a few of them so that you've got lots of examples to talk about on your cover letter. So maybe you do some volunteering for a local charity, but you also pitch to online magazines as well. Maybe you're working with a small pub on their social media, but you're doing something else. Just little tiny bits of everything, not necessarily everything, but a few different things would work really, really well, because you want to make sure that you're building a portfolio that isn't necessarily, the strongest portfolio, but it's definitely something that you can leave university with and feel really confident about. I understand not everyone's going to be able to get part-time marketing work. It's really rare. But what happens is, if you create these opportunities and then you can showcase them properly, you're ultimately going to be a better candidate than those who don't. So you want to make sure that when you are doing these things, that you're recording results. So if you're working with social media specifically, that you've got statistics that you can talk about. So obviously, if you start on your local pub social media and they've got 10 followers and you grow it to 3,000 followers, make sure that you've got something in place where you can see that kind of rapid growth. Because when you then go to employers and they say, what social media experience have you got, you can say to them, well, I did this for a local pub, like last year we grew their following, and you've got like a physical evidence of what you've done. A lot of people have done these things, especially kind of created their own opportunity, but they've not documented it. So then when they go to show employers, they can't, because they don't remember what they've done. And I especially did this when I first started kind of getting some experience in freelancing. I didn't record any kind of results, which then ultimately meant I was kind of left in not having a portfolio, but then I decided that I was going to start recording things, which is a lot better. And then another thing you want to do is concentrate on the hard skills that you've learned on your CV. So I see so many CVs literally on a daily basis that don't have this. You want to include softwares that you can use. So the hard kind of more technical skills on your CV. It's all well and good saying leadership or, you know, goal setter or time manager. But at the end of the day, what makes you stand out to an employer? It's the hard skills. So if you've used social media scheduling tools like Later, like Buffer, like Poloni, anything, just literally anything that works for you, anything that you've used, add that to your CV. Now, if you've used MailChimp, WordPress, so many other things, you can add this to your CV because employers will really respect the fact that you know how to use these kind of more technical softwares. So if you do have a blog, you know how to work, and you have it on WordPress, you know how to use WordPress, which is a content management system, and a lot of jobs ask for people to know how to use WordPress, but they don't say WordPress, they say CMS, which means content management system, which is ultimately the same thing. There's lots of different CMS, but WordPress is one of them. And MailChimp, again, you can create your own account on MailChimp totally free and just play around with it. We did a workshop not long ago on MailChimp, and we actively encouraged people to just create their own MailChimp account for free, register your email address, and just have a play about in there. They've got a drag and drop editor, they've got a landing page kind of creator. Just go in there, have a little play about, understand how it works. And you know, you can't necessarily say you're proficient or you're really great at MailChimp, but it also means that when you go to an employer and they say, what experience do you have? You can say, well, you know, I've created my own MailChimp account, I've created these campaigns, and you've got physical evidence that you can show them, rather than just kind of saying, I don't really know what I'm doing, because that's the reality of many things, especially when you leave university. It's great to have the theory behind things and know the models and know how things work, but when it comes to the reality of the working world, you need to understand how all these things work, and that will ultimately put you above others when you are going for jobs in later life. So the last thing really is just how can you be more confident in your abilities when it comes to marketing? I totally understand that this is a big thing. I think everyone actively kind of, you know, comes to the point in their life where like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, I think it is an active kind of thought that we all have. Everyone suffers from imposter syndrome. Everyone suffers from just kind of thinking that they're not really good enough for what they're doing. And that's totally normal. And you've got to start kind of feeling more confident. So yeah, stop comparing yourself to other people's marketing journeys. Everyone's on their own path. You know, you're not always going to achieve the things that other people achieve on the same timeline. It's just not possible. Don't focus on the end goal. Remember that your professional career isn't a race, and it's not even a marathon. So many people say, oh, you know, it's a marathon, like life's a marathon, and you know, that sort of thing. No, it's not. There is no end goal. You are never going to feel completely like, this is it, I've made it, because there's always going to be somewhere better that you can go, whether that's a promotion, whether that's going self-employed, whether that's starting your own business. There's always something else that you can do to make yourself feel even kind of better really about what you're doing. There is no set kind of race to life. Your professional career and your personal life as well, you need to remember that, you know, you're setting these kind of mid goals, but there's nothing really, I understand there can be a goal that you want in mind, but when you get there, what's next? Like, there always needs to be this kind of upwards hill of you just kind of bettering yourself all the time. Work hard, even if the odds are against you. There's been many times when I've worked with clients that, you know, haven't been the easiest to work with, and that's just a reality of working freelance. That's just the reality of working in marketing. Show that you're enthusiastic and you're passionate about marketing. That will make you feel more confident in yourself. The passion always overrides anything else. I definitely know that that's something that's helped me an awful lot throughout, you know, freelancing, throughout working. Ensure that you're always on top of marketing trends. like I said before, it's an always ever evolving industry and you're never going to know everything, but trying to keep up with the new algorithms, with the new updates, with trends is a really great way to feel confident that you know what you're doing and you understand things. It is difficult to do this, so don't feel overwhelmed if you start searching marketing trends and 50 million things come up on Google and you don't really know where to start, because that's totally normal. But if you keep up with just kind of the latest trends, you understand what's going on, you will ultimately feel a lot more confident. And then the last one is to connect with more marketers through networking and online as well. Especially at the moment, everyone's kind of will be from tonight at home, locked down, just kind of chilling, waiting for things to blow over. I mean, here we are, but hopefully, things will go. And at the same time, you need to think about online spaces. There are a lot of things out there for you to be getting up to and for you to be networking with people. Don't allow the kind of current situation to think that all of your networking dreams are over, because they're definitely not. I think I've done more networking since COVID happened than I ever did previously. So definitely put yourself out there and definitely have a go and just chat to people and be nice to people, because everyone loves a good chat. I don't know if anyone's got any questions. I feel like I've just talked at you all for quite a while. But yeah, if I don't know if you do have any questions, but there you go.
Well, there was a question in the chat
from Oh, sorry. There's a question in the chat from Gemma. She asked, what platform did you use to write your blogs?
Oh yeah, I can see that now. So sorry, I didn't have any of the messages on.
Okay.
So platform that I used was WordPress. So I had a self-hosted WordPress site. I set it up on GoDaddy. So I bought a domain, which is about, I think it was about £12 at the time. And then I did self-hosting on WordPress, which costs about £3 a month, or you can do an annual price as well. And then I just integrated that. So I had my own domain, which you don't have to do. There are a lot of other websites to use, but WordPress is good because if you can work the back end of it, it's great for marketing purposes. And also if you've got just a .com domain, then you are just gonna look a lot more professional. If you've got your kind of name.com, or you've got like a certain blog name.com.co.uk, it looks a lot better than having a kind of .wordpress or something like that. But in all honesty, if that's, if you can only afford to do the free version, then that's fine as well. You're still putting your work out there, you're still kind of creating content, which is amazing. But I did specifically use WordPress self-hosted.
I have some questions regarding your blog too. So what was your main audience? And I mean, what did your fellows think of it when you started writing on your blog?
Well, I was young, so everyone did kind of make fun of me a little bit. They're not now, needless to say, but I have never been bothered about what people have thought of me at all. And I think that is one big thing, that you've got to kind of grow a thick skin when you work online and when you kind of show people, and not necessarily anything, but just do write about anything. And I started off writing more about like beauty and lifestyle. And then when I kind of realized that I wasn't that bothered about that, I started to write about stuff that I really was bothered about. So as I said, the kind of more feminism topics, opinion related pieces, stuff that was kind of a bit edgy, to be honest with you. I mean, it's always great to have a really strong opinion, and I think people respect that. But one big thing I would say, if you are going to start a blog, is to think about everything that you're putting out online. Do not put anything that could be risky to potential employers in future. I feel like that's something people say all the time, but that is kind of honest, because I mean, kind of taking it back, last night, my partner found my old Twitter from like 2015, and we went through, and oh my gosh, like some of the stuff on there is just kind of just so random, like not necessarily bad. I've never said anything bad. I don't have any bad opinions as a person, but just so random. Like, I just thought that is so bad. I just think you just
Did you feel embarrassed?
Yeah, I was looking through, I think one of them was talking about like some boy I fancied or something. It was just so random. So I just think like you need to think about everything that you put online, especially when it comes to blogging, because I did put a lot of stuff out there that would be classed as kind of controversial, especially when it comes to like women's rights and stuff like that. Not necessarily controversial in the eyes of people who are normal, but eyes in the people who are like, you can't talk about all stuff like this. I understand that's what happens. But yeah, just be careful, because if you are going to want to work for a more kind of corporate brand, they very much do look into employees like a ridiculous amount. It's not going to be as simple as just like, oh, look at my portfolio. Like, they're going to search your social media. They're going to be really like deep in on everything that you've done online. So I would definitely suggest starting a blog. Just be careful what you do put out there.
I don't actually have any questions, but that was actually a very informative little presentation, and I'm going to take away a lot from it, as I'm sure everyone will. So thank you very much, by the way.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was amazing. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I just want to reiterate how grateful we are for this opportunity, and like, in all honesty, excuse my French as well, it's given me the kick up the arse I need. And like, I'm honestly just sat here in awe of you, and it's like really inspired me to get like my own journey up and running, because like I've been slack. But yeah, like honestly, thank you so much for giving us your time this afternoon as well. Do appreciate it.
It's honestly never too late to start creating opportunity, and at the end of the day, you know, that is the thing. You are the only person that can do what you do, and you're the only person that's you as well. So it's very much about putting yourself out there, doing something a little bit different, and also not burning yourself out as well. I definitely got to the point, I would say, like third year of university, I was just doing so many different things. I wouldn't recommend it really. But I love to be busy. I'm very much a busy person. I say that I don't like it, but I actually love it. Like, I'm busy all the time. I take on too much stuff, but I love it at the same time. So I would just say, you know, if you are going to do anything, just do everything with some time. Don't rush yourself. Really learn and take in things. Definitely reach out to kind of local companies, especially at the moment. This isn't the best time for local companies and local businesses, but you know, you having just some marketing knowledge could really help out a local business. And as well as you being able to add that to your CV, you're also able to help out a business at the same time.
Yeah, and also, as you said, don't compare to others, because you have your own path and your own luck and start your own career.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, well, I suppose that's everything then. If I we're obviously on kind of Instagram and everything. We're just Girls in Marketing on basically everything. If you want to follow my Instagram, I have like a professional business inspiring one. It's just Olivia May Hanlon, MAE Hanlon, HANLON on Instagram. I've started posting a lot more content on there recently. I've never really done it before, but I used to have like obviously a blog account and lots of other things, but I recently decided I wanted to start just like being cool again, because I used to do loads of stuff and I kind of focused on Girls in Marketing a lot more. So I'm also building my personal brand back since I've started Girls in Marketing. I had one when I was kind of freelancing, but I kind of deleted it, if you will, when I started working full time, and now I'm built it back up again. So yeah, amazing. Well, thank you for having me. If anyone wants to give me a message or an email, my emails are olivia@girlsinmarketing.com. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy to have a chat with anyone. If anyone wants to have like a one-to-one talk, I'm happy with that as well. Just up for everything really, just whatever you want, within reason, obviously.